Hello, I'm Wonder001, and this is my 2.5 year point review of Wealthfront, a Robo advisor, or just a investment platform, if you will. This is going to be a shorter than normal, I think, review for me. If you are interested in a full in-depth review, I would recommend checking in the upper right-hand corner of your screen. Little eye should be popping up, as I've done several videos about my progress using Wealthfront and going more in depth in a lot of those than what I will be doing currently. The reason for that is this is just kind of an update video, talk about how things have progressed, as well as some new features that have made their way into Wealthfront, as well as some changes that have been made to the Wealthfront platform as a whole. So to get started, realistically up here, the path tool has not changed all that much. Over here, your overall savings, you'll notice if you watch my previous videos, I have increased my savings a bit by increasing my wife's contributions to almost maxing out her IRA. So that's why we are now saving an average of 11%. This is not including money that is going into our individual savings accounts, because I do not have those as part of the calculation currently. You can set an average of, how much you actually put in, but I'm just trying to keep this to the investments, and that's going to come into play a little later. So right here, you've got your goals. Right now, you can see my goal that I have set is retiring at 65 and spending roughly $6,000 a month. This is above and beyond what I actually currently spend. So I'm just using this as a motivational tool to keep me saving. So you'll see it's listed as a stretch. Again, these are going to be important because the path tool up here is going to start changing once we click on the plus sign right by it. Wealthfront has added several new path events. Windfall, so expecting a gift, company going public. You can add that and it will add it to your path timeline. You also have planning for a new home and saving for college. So these are all new things that you can do. I'm going to start with savings for college because I want to show you something when I do the planning for a home. So we're going to start saving for college. It's going to say, hey, here's your current net worth. These are the accounts that are being taken into consideration. You can link more accounts if you want. Current household income with little edit buttons. And again, this is something that I appreciate, that they added an edit button next to things instead of just clicking on the numbers to edit. You have filing. You can change this. I'm married and filing jointly with my wife. And then over on the left-hand side, you have some information. You can say, okay, this looks good, or clicking on the details over here will allow you to make some changes. In this case, children, I have preloaded a child in here. Their name is Bob, and they'll be born this May. Don't tell my mother-in-law. You can add another child, or if we shrink this down, you can open up accounts and returns and finances and household. These are similar to the other path areas, so I'm going to leave that alone. We're going to say we have our one child here, so we're going to say that looks right. We can select your own child or someone else's child if you want. Notice you lose a little bit of information here, which is which child. So you can add your own child. I know it sounds horrible, but you can add your child, or you can select a pre-existing child. So I added Bob into the system, so we're going to select Bob and select next. So Wealthfront knows where you live. So it knows that I live in the state of New York. So it is showing me in-state public universities. Now, it's not going to show me all of the in-state public universities. It's just going to show me a assortment. So let's say I want to send my child to SUNY Albany. You select SUNY Albany, and it says, based on your long-term financial coverage of $10,000. So this little orange sliver is what we're going to cover for Bob's future college expenses, my wife and I, $10,000. If you come over and select Show Details, it will show you where it's coming up with this number and this information. So projected total cost. If we hit the drop-down arrow, it gives you a little blur about where the methodology is coming from. Shows you the name of the university. You can edit that from here. Shows you tuition and fees for the state university, for this particular state university, as well as room and board, books and supplies, and other expenses. Now, this is all considered estimates. It shows me that financial aid, I do not qualify for financial aid. Go figure. Coming down to children, you can select a different child, all from here. Let's hypothetically say that I do not want to send Bob to SUNY Albany. You can click on the little logo here, or again over in the corner, edit mode right here. So we're gonna click on the icon there, and let's say we want to send him to public university. Well, here you go. It's giving you a smattering. You'll notice that these are no longer showing in-state universities because, well, it doesn't have to be in-state. So let's say we're going to send him to Georgia Institute of Technology because, hey, technology. Again, we are going to only save $10,000 for Bob, and that's this orange sliver. Note the green sliver is the remainder. And what's this purple one now? Well, if you come over to show details, Bob now qualifies for financial aid, and it estimates what he would qualify for. Now, let's hypothetically say you want to change this amount, how much you're going to save for your child. You can use this slider bar down here, or you can click the little button there, and we are going to save $21,000 for Bob, and then hit enter. Notice that orange bit's going to increase a little bit. It's still showing that it is a stretch based on the current savings rate, which we have right here, because we do not have our savings accounts, which we do put money into. My wife actually puts the majority of her money into her savings account. If we come up here, it is a stretch because your long-term plans are significantly affected. If you hit the drop-down arrow here, it gives you an explanation of why that is. And you can make adjustments to your retirement plan here. So you can choose to retire later. You can choose to save more money. It also shows recommendations. So right down here, it says recommended. Hey, you can use a 529 savings plan, which probably be the smart thing to do for Bob to help save for some of that money, because college is not cheap. And then pro tip, cover more college costs by superfunding 529. So again, more information. And the last bit, again, a little more information so you can adjust your retirement plan from here. Now you can add your child's photo here. I did neglect to mention that, sorry. If we click back on the picture, you can search for a school too. Because you can come down here and say private, and you can send your kid to Harvard if you want to, but that's going to be really expensive. Yeah, you'll notice right there, $79,000 in financing. But one of the things that I mentioned is you can come up here and search. So I know that there is a closer college to me. It's a 2-year state university. So if we're going to do $21,000, here you can see it's going to cover a large chunk of that. Now, the show details and why I say it's an estimate. $16,000 for tuition fees for the life of this 2-year institution seems correct. But Rockland Community College does not have dormitories. So this $37,000 is not something that I would equivalate into my estimate here. Wealthfront, I know you watch these videos. Please add an edit button here so that I can change this to 0. Books and supplies, they're going to be expensive. Recommend just going on Amazon or Chud. If you've got an IMDb number, you can find a cheaper book. Never use a college bookstore. And then you've got miscellaneous other expenses. Now, one other feature that I would like to see for the preparing for your student's future is the ability to show 2 institutions. Let's say I want to send Bob to RCC for 2 years, get his gen eds out of the way, and then ship him off to a 4-year school. I'd like to be able to see the split between the two. Also, I know people who work at RCC. They get to send their kids here for free, so they don't have to pay a dime. Perhaps letting me edit that in some way, shape, or form in this formula so that I can see, hey, books and so forth are going to cost this much, but tuition and fees are going to be free. There's no dormitories and other expenses. So just let me see this, and then let me see the 4-year institution details. It's just a thought. I know it's making the tool more complicated than it needs to be, but that's just my general looking at that. So we're going to hit done. Here we go. Bob is going to go to school right here at age 53 for me. And you can see my retirement is still listed as a stretch, and Bob's education at RCC is still a stretch. My wife and I are planning to cover 30%, so $21,000. Right here, you have more path events. So they've added the home planning tool, which I like and dislike for several different reasons. So we're going to get into that. Again, this information is correct. Here's what it's using. Just like with the child, sending them to college, net worth, if you want to add another account, current rent. Now, current rent, I have this actually as my mortgage instead of being my actual rent. You can link a home if you wanted to, and you have your current household income. You can add a windfall if you want. Windfalls would probably be helpful for planning for a house, but this looks right. We're going to move on. So based on all my information, and you can search for a location. So let's say we're going to do this. Here it's exploring neighborhoods near me. So Pomona is near me. So if I select Pomona, it says a 3-bedroom. That's this price range. It's probably a stretch. This price range, also a stretch. This one, forget about it. Let's say if I look at 17.5, we'll look by Pennsylvania here. I can comfortably, based on my information, get a 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom, or 4-bedroom, and this is well under what things are like where I live. You can have a price range in mind. So if you don't want to select something like this, so let's say I select this, it will show me average price of the home, your projected down payment, and your estimated monthly payment, so mortgage, taxes, etc. Let's say we're not going to do that. We're going to enter a price range. And for me, this is what it's got to be for around where I live. It says I can comfortably afford it, and it doesn't hurt your long-term plans. Actually, it's telling me that, so it's so here I changed it to Pomona, which is closer to me. It still says it's comfortable at $350. Now you click here and it shows you can do 20% down, projected income. This purchase does not hurt your retirement. Now that's if I do it in 3 years. Let's say I want to get a new house tomorrow. Well, you'll notice that the monthly payment increased a little bit. And this is all well and good. Now the issue is, and I'm going to go back to review my savings. So manageable now, manageable, and comfortable. Notice this isn't a stretch anymore because it's counting the house as an asset. I personally do not believe that it is an asset, but that's just me. With the house counting as an asset, it makes Bob's education more feasible, and it makes retirement more feasible because, well, both are counting towards my retirement as an asset. And you can see here's my house on the path tool. Here's Bob starting college, and here's my retirement. So here's the thing with the home purchase. If you have a house already attached to your account, this changes the tool drastically. When I added my current home, it said that this would be very, very difficult for me to do. And I can understand. It's just I don't like to have the house as an asset because it's not paying me, but that's a personal preference. But those are the two new path tools. And you'll notice dynamically it changes as you remove items. So let's get into the returns. So we're going to start off with my Wealthfront IRA here. Now, I will preface this with saying 2018, if we come up here, has been really hard. The stock market has fluctuated all across the world. So even having a diversified portfolio, while I did not get hit as hard if I did not diversify, I still got hit pretty hard. If you see, I got money-weighted return for 2018 at -2% and time-weighted also. If we come back to 2017, I was looking at 17% and 17.4. But let's check our overall because that's the important one because we're in this for the long haul. So we are currently sitting at for a money-weighted return of 23.45. Last time, last 6 months ago, it was 37.88, so we did lose a little bit. But again, this is for the long haul. Do our time weighted. Time weighted currently is 31.6. Previous 6 months prior to this, it was at 37% even. So we did lose a little bit, but as long as I stay above this net deposit line, I will be happy. And also, if I can purchase things when the dips are happening. And again, I'm not trying to time the market. It's just so happens every time my Wealthfront was going in, it would just the next day almost, it would be, hey, something's happening. We need to adjust or you're going to lose some stuff. So let's go back and take a look at the investment account. So investment account is going to show the dips a little more because there's not as much in the account. Now, I will say this, the tax loss harvesting has been going to work overtime for this particular. So you can see right here, $24 already that it has tax loss harvested, as opposed to last year where it did 21. That's $21 for the entire year. It's already done 24 in 6 months. So let's check those returns. Money weighted currently is 13.04%. Last year it was 28.16. So again, feeling the hurt of the crazy markets. Currently we are at 16.96, and last prior term 6 months it was 21.49. So again, did take a little dip, but just keep plugging away at it, and eventually you'll come around. So while I'm sitting here, this is where I'm going to start talking about some of the platform changes that Wealthfront has started making. First is, you will notice there's still no dividends. I did reach out to a contact at Wealthfront, and they have been in discussions about having a dividend show up somewhere, but not tops on the priority list. However, if you go to the Wealthfront app on iOS or Android, there is a dividend section there, and mysteriously it showed up the day that I asked my contact over at Wealthfront what was going on, if they had anything for the web. Not saying I made that happen, but I'm saying I made that happen. So one of the things you may have heard about Wealthfront, the beginning of, well, not beginning of the year, but first half of the year, was some controversy with a feature called risk parity. Now, risk parity is probably something you don't have to worry about until your account balance is much higher than what I have. But what it boils down to is it is a non-passive, more expensive, not crazy expensive because they have lowered the price of it after a lot of the backlash, but almost, I don't want to say hedge fund-like, but it's something else that's not passive that they got a lot of backlash for, because if you come into your investment account, and it's only with investment accounts, they automatically enrolled you. So if you met the money threshold, you automatically got dumped into this more expensive option. I know Wealthfront isn't a new company, but really, look around. Does it ever end well when you automatically opt people into something and force them to opt out? You never make people opt out of something new. You let them opt in. And notice, all of these options are checked. I'm fine with tax loss harvesting, stock level tax loss harvesting, smart beta. Risk parity, I don't want. Well, guess what? There's nothing here that makes me think that I can change this. You actually have to come up here, because you can't click on anything. It'll give you information about it. You can't click there. There's a little drop down triangle that doesn't look anything else like any other edit buttons on the site. UI guys, change that. Come up here, click on that, and then instead of complete passive plus suite, you come down to partial, which will get rid of the risk parity, and then apply. Then you're fine. That is my one big gripe and feeling of a misstep for Wealthfront. You never force somebody to opt out of a new feature. You inform them that it's there, and you can spam them to all ends of the earth, but you don't automatically stick them into something new like that, especially if you're going to charge more. So food for thought, think about it for the future. Now, another change that's coming to Wealthfront, and again, this is for new accounts and accounts that change their risk score. The assets, they're changing how they function. So right here, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 asset classes in my investment account, just like in my Roth IRA. If you change your risk score or you open a new account, there will only be 5 asset classes. And I used to use this tool to play with my allocations to see if I wanted to increase my risk score or not. I haven't, but I used to do it just to see. So I emailed their support team to find out what was going on, to see if I was just dreaming. I got a nice email back explaining that they're constantly changing their theory and that, new profiles, new portfolios going forward, as well as anybody who changes their risk score going forward, would be placed into this new 5 asset class. There's a white paper about it, and then the maximum target amount would also change. Now, they did say that this was rolling out slowly, and the email made me think that it might actually come to all portfolios. Don't know for sure, but it's something to consider, because here up on the screen you can see a comparison of my current portfolio value for my investment account and then what the new portfolio values with the same risk score would have been. Likewise, here's what my current IRA is with 6.5% and then 6.5% with the new asset allocations. Now, based on this, I would actually raise my my risk score, because it just seems like there's too much in bonds for me personally. But it's not all negative naysaying. I did mention in many of my videos that I wish that Wealthfront would do partial shares, fractional shares. I still wish they would, but you'll notice that my totals in the cash in the account are much lower. You'll notice here that my target, 35, my current is 35.4. Here, current target is 5%, current is 5.6. I think they're starting to let this be a little looser so that you don't have quite as much cash drag in the account. So if that is the case, that is a welcome change. Now, coming back to the path tool here, you cannot see it because I just don't want to have to blur them out, are my attached accounts. I do wish that Wealthfront would query them a little more frequently. I have noticed that I've gone like 3 to 4 days at sometimes before it queries my external accounts. Just saying, maybe do that a little more often. So the last change that I'm going to talk about with Wealthfront happened at the beginning of the year. I got an email about it, and that it actually took effect in April. We're currently filming this at the end of June. So that is assets managed for free. Wealthfront is getting rid of the $10,000 management free sign-on bonus, so to speak. And part of me can see why they're doing it. If you think about it, they are only charging 25 basis points, so 0.25% of total assets, and it's ridiculously cheap. If you think about it, you're looking at people who signed on before. They still get to keep their $10,000 sign-on bonus. But if you look at my IRA having $13,000 in it now, and my investment account having $3,600, it took me just about 2.5 years to max out my original $15,000, because I use an affiliate link, to max that out so that I would start paying Wealthfront for the use of their services. Now, if they've reached a saturation point and everybody like me has these lower end accounts, it's going to take them a while to start making money off of them. And I do like Wealthfront as a service, and I do understand why they got rid of the sign-on bonus for assets managed for free. I wish it was still there, but it's not. However, you are in luck if you're watching this. They still do offer affiliate links. So I will have my link down in the description below. If you utilize that, you will get $5,000 managed for free. Right now, that's the only thing you can do. So if you'd like $5,000 managed for free and you found this video helpful, please feel free to use the link below. If you don't use mine, I understand, that's perfectly fine. I would recommend highly that you find somebody else's affiliate link to use, because no assets managed for free is not better than at least 5,000 managed for free. So I have been Wanderer 001. This has been my 2.5-year review of actual usage of Wealthfront as my primary investing and retirement vehicle. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them in the area below. And as always, thanks for watching.